Chapter 2. The Seeds of Governance. Henrietta stood tall, her feathers slightly fluffed in a sign of authority. The sun had begun to set, casting a golden hue across the animals in the courtyard. Her voice carried over the murmurs of the others, commanding attention. "My friends, I know these times test us," Henrietta said, her voice firm and unwavering. "The zookeepers watch us with suspicion, but that fear means we've shaken their hold. They know we are capable of more, but only if we stay united. We have a chance to build something greater than they ever imagined, a society that thrives on equality, justice, and cooperation." She paused for a moment, letting the words sink in before continuing. "We can't just wait for them to give us freedom. We must take it for ourselves. Let us show them that our strength isn't in fighting. It's in refusing to be broken. Let them see our unity, our structure. They will know we're not just animals in a cage. We're a society." Zara, the zebra, standing near the front, her stripes rippling as she shifted, narrowed her eyes. "Mock all you want, Rollo," she said, her voice sharp. "But if we don't organize, the zookeepers will divide and conquer us. We must be better than them." At that, Rollo the raccoon, with a mischievous glint in his eye, let out a dismissive snort. But before he could speak, Jasper stood tall, his hooves firmly planted on the ground. His deep voice carried through the crowd, steady and calm, like the earth beneath them. "Zara speaks the truth," Jasper said, his voice full of conviction. "But words alone won't hold us together. We need more than ideals. We need a structure that stands firm, just like the ground beneath us. We need to know what we're fighting for, and how we will fight for it." Henrietta turned toward Jasper, nodding in agreement. "And what do you suggest, Jasper?" she asked, her tone encouraging but curious. Jasper's eyes scanned the crowd of animals. "A council," he said simply. "A group of animals elected by each species who will help guide us. But we must ensure that we aren't divided by our differences. The zookeepers will use any crack they can find to weaken us. We must make sure we stand as one, united in purpose." Elden, the wise owl perched high above them, spoke up from his vantage point. "Leadership by strength is not enough," Elden said, his voice soft but piercing. "True leadership is in wisdom and foresight. We must be able to look beyond the immediate, beyond our personal wants. We must think of the future and ensure that we are not simply recreating the tyranny we seek to escape." Leo stood up next. His golden mane gleamed in the fading sunlight, and his deep voice was one of both authority and wisdom. "A council, yes, but we must be careful. Not all animals will be suited to leadership. Power must remain in the hands of those who can maintain order and make difficult decisions. Otherwise, we risk chaos." Henrietta turned to Leo, raising an eyebrow. "You suggest a hierarchy of sorts?" she asked, her voice calm but probing. Leo's gaze remained steady. "A hierarchy that ensures leadership is earned, not taken," he replied. "The strongest, the wisest, the most just. These are the qualities that should define leadership." The animals fell silent for a moment, considering Elden's words. Henrietta nodded thoughtfully. "Wisdom, yes. It must guide us. But how do we ensure that the council remains fair, that no one animal dominates, regardless of strength or wisdom?" Rollo from the back snorted derisively. "Unity, unity, unity. Sounds great in theory, but what happens when someone steps out of line? What happens when a lion wants more territory or a zebra wants more food? What's to stop us from turning on each other?" Jasper, standing tall and resolute, addressed the concern. "Rollo makes a point," he said, his voice steady and firm. "We must be vigilant. We must have clear guidelines for what is acceptable and what is not. We cannot allow ourselves to slip into chaos." Henrietta nodded, acknowledging the wisdom in Jasper's words. Exactly, she said. We will establish rules, but not rules that favor the strong over the weak. This will be a community where each of us has a stake, where we hold each other accountable. Elden turned his head slowly, his large eyes studying the group. We must ensure the council does not become a tool for the powerful, he said softly, but with unmistakable strength in his voice. It is easy for the strong to assume they have the right to lead, but it is the wise who see the bigger picture. We must ensure that we are all heard, that no one voice drowns out another. As the discussion continued, the animals began to form smaller groups, debating the finer details of how their new society would function. Some animals, like Henrietta, Zara, and Leo, were eager to push forward with new ideas. Others, like Rollo and a few others, remained doubtful. They questioned the feasibility of such an ambitious plan, wondering if the animals could ever truly come together in peace. Jasper nodded in agreement. Accountability, yes, he said. We must not only protect our freedom, but we must also protect the trust we build among ourselves. Without trust, our unity is fragile. Henrietta's voice rang out with quiet authority. And we will protect that trust with every ounce of strength we have. This council will be the heart of our society. We will be fair, just, and united. And if anyone tries to exploit their position, they'll be held accountable. Leo finished her sentence, his voice resolute. Henrietta turned to him, her gaze appreciative. Yes, exactly. We cannot afford to let power corrupt us. Our unity will be our strength, and with it, we will build something lasting. Jasper, ever patient, stood back, observing the heated conversations. He knew that this was a pivotal moment in the zoo's history. The animals were no longer just reacting to oppression, they were creating something entirely new. As the night drew on, Henrietta watched the different factions of animals debating, arguing, and compromising. The golden light of the setting sun had long since faded, and the first stars began to twinkle above the zoo. But Henrietta knew that this was just the beginning. The seeds of governance had been planted, but the real work would come in the days ahead. Could they truly build a society that honored every animal, or would the old ways of division and power struggles creep back in? For now, Henrietta remained hopeful. The rebellion had sparked a fire, and it was up to them to ensure that it didn't burn out.